Good morning and welcome to Sports Central, live and exclusive to you on Spectrum Television from the hills of Ibiako. And my name is Mfono. I'm excited to bring you the latest stories in the world of sports. Talking about the tennis, just after the Wimbledon, we're getting up to the hardcourt swing in North America, and lots of superstars are already doing the needful. On Jabor, the first Arabian to reach the finals of a major Grand Slam, has said she's stepping away from tennis for quite a while, and we just want to wait and see what happens there for the lady. Talking about football, we have to inspire heated up Manchester United after almost 60 days, finally getting closer to agreement for their man who they've been chasing for quite a while now, Brian Mbeumo. Well, these and many more would form the crux of our conversation. Basketball not left out. The Junior Tigers were beaten by Hungary, but their next opponents, the Argentines, have lost 4 matches already in the competition. So maybe it's time for the Junior Tigers to finally make someone who will be better than at the competition. These are what we'll bring to you when the competition unfolds in full. Well, we'll just take a quick break. When we're back, Sport Wrap-Up takes center stage. Don't go anywhere. We'll start from the world of tennis, where after a 16-month absence, former world number 1 Venus Williams is returning to action on the WTA Tour. The 45-year-old American superstar accepted a main draw wild card into the WTA 500 Mubadala CTTC Open in Washington. A main draw play at the hard court event kicks off on Monday, July the 21st. Williams, a 7-time Grand Slam single champion and 16 times Grand Slam doubles champion, will be contesting her first event on tour since 2024 in Miami. 4-time Olympic gold medalist Williams will be back at the DC event for the second time. In her only previous appearance at the event, Williams fell to Rebecca Marino in the first round of the 2022 edition. Williams also spent time in DC as part of the Washington Castle squad in World Team Tennis. She played on that team for 8 seasons, talking about 2010 to 2015 and 2017 to 2019. That story takes us straight to the ATP scene, where Alexander Bublik added another high-class display to his European Summer surge on Thursday, that was yesterday, at the EFG Swiss Open in Gstaad, competing on clay for the first time since he reached his first Grand Slam quarterfinal in Roland Garros. Bublik is past his fellow Kazakhstani Alexander Shevchenko 6-2, 6-3 in the Swiss mountains. The second seed out-hit Shevchenko by 20 winners to 5 to wrap a 62-minute win and set a quarterfinal clash with Francisco Comisana. Bublik is now 14 wins and just 5 losses in tour-level matches since the start of the Mutua Madrid Open in April. As well as his last 8 run in Roland Garros, the 28-year-old's impressive recent results include an ATP 500 title run on the hard grass. Having been the world number 82 as recently as mid-March, Bublik is now up to number 33 in the ATP Live rankings. Now we go to the bouncy court of basketball, where as no longer in the running for title contention, Nigeria's Junior Tigers will face a debt with Argentina today as the classification rounds take place at the ongoing FIBA Under-19 Women's Basketball World Cup in Brno, Czech Republic. The coach Juliana Akera-led side were beaten 77-51 by Eastern European side Hungary in the round of 16 on Wednesday to exit the race to become world champions. However, there is still pride to pay for when they take on the South Americans at the Stades Arena Budova Hall in Brno for the right to finish in positions 9 to 16. Nigeria will make their debut in the tournament. They've averaged a total of 61.8 points, 42.3 rebounds, and 11.8 assists since the start of the competition. Argentina themselves have been nothing short of terrible, losing all 4 of their games at the World Cup. The South Americans fell 68 to 47 to Spain in their opener and followed that up with a 77 to 49 defeat to Czech Republic. Further losses were recorded to Japan, 83 to 44 to close out the round-robin phase before going down 95 to 46 against Australia in the round of 16. Now to football, where England rolled into the semi-finals of Women's Euro 2025 just yesterday after coming back from 2 goals down and then beating Sweden 3-2 on penalties to continue their title defense. Smelia Homberg blasted over from the sport in an eventful shootout in Zurich after the match finished 2-2 after extra time thanks to Lucy Bronze and Michelle Akemang's quick-fire strikes, just as England looked to be limping out of the tournament. But Sabrina Wickman's team, who faced Italy, were in the last 4 of the first time since 1997. In the last 4 in Geneva on Tuesday after a sensational comeback, and that Sweden's bid for a first major honor since winning the first official Euros back in 1984. Peter Gerhardsen's team fallen in the most painful of fashions. On to transfer, where Manchester United have increased their bid for Brentford forward Brian Mbeumo. The new offer is worth £65 million, with another £5 million in add-ons. Brentford are yet to inform United whether this particular bid will be accepted. United have prioritized the signing for Mbeumo since competing a deal for Matthias Cunha. Brentford have made it clear during negotiations that the value in Mbeumo above the £62.5 million that saw Cunha move to Old Trafford from Wolves. Mbeumo is younger than Cunha and scored more Premier League goals last season. The interest in the Cameroon international has also been complicated by Brentford receiving a number of inquiries for striker Yohan Owisa. United are hopeful of getting a deal over the line for Mbeumo, although they will face a race against time to get him on the plane for the pre-season tour of the United States. Ruben Amorim and his squad are set to fly to their base camp in Chicago on Tuesday ahead of 3 games in the United States of America. Well, these are all the stories we have for you on Sport Wrap Up, but not all we have for you on the program this morning, as we'll take just a quick breather. And when we're back, Sport Central continues in earnest. Stick around.
My name is Blind Wicken. Well, funny thing, I hear you make for company now, ready for the build-up that comes with this one. Multiple talking point to look at. One of the key talking point would center around multiple talking point to look at. One of the key talking point would center around a key game that's taking place today would definitely be the Quarter African Cup of Nations. A nine-time champions, the Super African Cup of Nations. A nine-time champions, the Super Falcons of Nigeria, against the Copper Girls, the Copper Queens of Zambia. The Zambians are talking tough. Everyone from the coach Nora Hopto, they're speaking big how they knock out the Super Falcons of Nigeria. But we'll also pay attention to the Euros, attraction that's been taking place in the women's Euros as England somewhat battled against Sweden, coming from 2 goals down to get a victory via penalty. And now they'll be facing Italy. Other games in the Euros taking center stage today. We'll look at the world of tennis and definitely talk about the competition that's taking place in Nigeria. I'm talking about how Nigerians are dominating women's sprint at the CAA Under 18, Under 20 championship. Funny good morning. So good to see you today. Good build up. Looking forward to what happens.
Exciting day to be back. Super Falcons of Nigeria later today. 5 p.m. Red tackles with the Copper Queens of
Los Cabos, and let's see what's happening. Los Cabos, and let's see what's happening in there. Well, first talking point was centered down Sloan Steven, former US Open champion now, having a good victory against Ali Humanitarian Award. We're talking about winning the Ali Humanitarian Award at the ESPYS. Well, unfortunately, you've been tracking what's been happening with Sloan Steven, and in terms of tennis, she's not really been the best of it, but Ali Humanitarian Award, a big ups what's happening there.
Well, definitely the ESPYs were given just yesterday, and we had Sloan Steven being given that particular award for her contribution towards the growth of tennis. Looking at there, where she's from now, she's gotten an academy where she trains about, I think, 10,000 kids, 1,000 kids there to become tennis superstars. She's been doing quite well for herself, not really being one of the best in recent times when you're talking about tennis in WTA category, but she's been doing great work off the pitch, putting in a quota, using her money, which she's earned from playing tennis across the years, using it to invest in the younger generation to see how she can also help her community and as well help the growing generation of tennis superstars who want to become tennis superstars just like she was. So I think good news for her, good thing for her, and it shows that you do not just have to stop after getting the money, you just go retire and maybe have fun for yourself. You can also give back to the society, which also helps you to become who you are in the society.
Big ups to Sloan Steven, what she's doing in the society, and winning the humanitarian award in that regard. Next for the defense now, just 32 years of age, the peak of her career was winning the 2017 US Open. And we're hoping Sloan Steven will get to do more. Definitely she's doing more, but this time out not on court, but away from the court, raising the next generation is something to really look forward to. I don't know when Mfon will start giving back to the society. Well, that chuckle and that smile saying, well, at least you have lots of time to do it, but there's something you have to think about, Valentina. See which area can give back to the society, somehow. Which area would be good for us?
Well, I don't know. I have to think about that. It's not something on my mind at the moment. Still have to do some self-retrospection before we even get to think about the society. Still under progress now, so you don't have to jump on to get to the other.
All right, fun, still under progress. Maybe sometimes while you're progressing, you just do the needful at the same time. Maybe teach other people how to become better presenters in terms of sports presenters. Could be a way to look in the direction. But quickly, let's move to the WTA 500 and talk about former world #1 Venus Williams. We hear she's joined the main draw. Looking forward to the field at Washington. How old is Venus Williams now? Recently I heard she was getting married. Makes all the difference, and she's coming from the cameo now, ready to feature in Washington, the WTA 500 event.
Well, I think good news, but I just know she's going to get knocked out. The last competition she got knocked out in the first round by Serena Rebecca, who is not even in the top 20, top 15 world women in the WTA ranking. So
she herself isn't in the top 10, top 50, definitely.
She's definitely just she's bringing in the attention, the media attention to the Mubadala situation. Remember, the defending champion pulled out of it, Paulo Mendoza. So when you look at it now, she has to try to see how she can. Mubadala just looking forward to seeing how they can bring in superstars who bring attention. Venus Williams comes with a lot of attention. Everyone would want to, just like having the likes of, I'm not going to say Cristiano Ronaldo, I'm messing now, maybe likes of Zlatan Ibrahimovic go to play. You're having a competition, let's say, maybe in Nigeria, we're having a competition here. Maybe Kano Pillars wants to play against a certain group, and then you have Zlatan Ibrahimovic coming. It's going to be a lot of attention. That's the life of Venus Williams now. She's won the Grand Slam a lot of times, won doubles title. In fact, she's the world record holder now for doubles, championship. So I think Venus Williams will always be a top draw when it comes to it. But I just feel that maybe there could have been someone else who was more befitting of that spot, because right now you just see the person that gets to face her in the first round.
It's going to be
just be getting to the next round.
So what attention is there now? Are there no superstars at the Washington tournament where she gets a feature? We'll look at it. Other superstars, the likes of Jessica Pegula and the rest of them. More Americans get a feature there.
Jessica Pegula hopes to have the kind of career that Venus Williams had. When you look at their careers, I think Venus Williams, whatever she's achieved, dwarfs whatever Jessica Pegula has been able to do for herself. For this woman, she's not the only person. I think Pegula is also selected for that particular competition.
Yeah, that's right. So that's big attention already now. Big superstars.
I just know the Williams sisters. They had a movie done about them 2 years ago. Serena, herself, and their father. I watched that movie. I was very, very mind-blown, because I know they added a few fiction, to it. But at the end of it, when you look at the story of these girls, you have to give it to them. No one expected them to do what they did against all odds, against all competitions. The two Williams sisters, they ruled the world for a lot of time. So you cannot get bigger than the Williams sisters, never.
Well, the biggest lesson when it has to do with the Williams sisters is what everyone gets to talk about, scientific level, definitely. And it comes this way, that if a child gets to practice a thing, and from when they're kids, for a longer time, guess what happens? They might end up, most likely going to end up becoming superstars. And that's the message for all of us. You have kids, train your kids in specific way. The father wasn't a tennis player, just loved tennis, started coaching them at a young age, maybe 4, 6, thereabouts, and from there we began to see the Williams sisters, and guess what? They really dominated the world of tennis, and that's the impact of learning a particular thing from when you are a child. Well, still within the context of tennis, it would be one of Africa's iconic representatives in the world of tennis right here, has announced a break from tennis to put herself, in what she says, to put myself first. Well, unfortunately, what's really happening now, every now and then we get to see Onstjoba go on this break now. This time putting himself first.
I think it's good news for Onstjoba. In fact, when she announced that, when she made the announcement yesterday, lots of superstars, Amanda Anisimova, Mira Andreeva, came out to tell her, come on, you'll be back stronger, because we understand what she said. I read that particular post. She was talking about that she does not feel happy. She's lost that drive. She's lost that motivation that used to make her to be one of the top players in the world in tennis. She's actually very good. But with the calf injury, she's had recurrent calf injuries, and I don't even understand why how calf injuries relate to tennis, because calf is somewhere on your leg. Maybe from running
lots of movement. Come on,
definitely. But we mostly see injuries that have to do with the upper body with tennis superstars. Most injuries have to do with
we also got to see the knee.
Yeah,
Nick Kegels had a knee
also. But it's rare to have a calf injury as a tennis superstar. It's always mostly in football, because that's where you pull your hamstring. In tennis, the highest you can go for.
Well, in sports, you're running, that's it. I think most of the kind of injuries you got to see in the world of tennis, you talked about a wrist injury, shoulder injury, because they're hitting the ball with such power at the end of it. But there's even saying the likes of Rafa that are having the toe injury. So he's not kicking the ball, but he's got a toe injury in the cost of it. So injuries are bound to happen when you're running around the court.
Her injuries now have been very recurrent, like having calf injuries back to back. And she talked about the happiness part of it, and I can relate, because there's a time you get to do something you will not enjoy it. There's no joy in it. You will not be able to produce at optimal level. So I think she needs that break. She said she's not retiring indefinitely at this point. She said she just wants to take time out for herself. She's not taking time out for herself in quite a while. So for once, Jabo, the first Arabian woman to reach the finals of the major Grand Slam, I would say maybe it's time for her to take that much-needed break and come back stronger.
A big question will be how old she is, because by the time she returns, more years adding up and quite difficult to even be happy returning. It could be a consequential.
So, the break could be 3 months. You can get your happiness back in 3 months. Come on.
Well, it's also a conversation, because recently we had Alexander Zverev say a similar thing, but from his angle, he was talking about so many competition, and then probably, but I can understand when you're not winning trophies, what's the motivation? You put in a lot of work like Alexander Zverev, maybe get to the semifinals and you're beaten out of it, and guess what? You return the next competition, the same old, the process continues. You never get to get the gold, the medal, so it's becoming very difficult
when you're a top superstar.
Absolutely. So quite frustrated. And not many people get to talk about it, not just tennis, even the world of football. Athletes put that body on the line, footballers put that body on the line, they're training. And the worst part of all of this is, at the end of it, maybe some fans that are watching you're not performing so well, they turn against you and start saying bad things against you. And you don't really know.
Sometimes, not every time, but sometimes that's a pity for him, because when he comes out at the end of the FA Cup match where Eric Ten Hag was silly charged, the man was crying on the field of play. You will ask yourself, why was he crying? He knows what it means for him to, be at that level. And fans are not really, fans are not even at his back again. For a player who, rode the wave of the fans, he was always there, the fans chanting his name, and at the end of it, couldn't work out for him. But for us, Jabo, let's not digress now. For us, Jabo, I want to wish the lady the very best. Maybe I'm going to focus. I think she has a kid now. Maybe focus on her kid and have time for herself. She'll be back stronger.
Well, we'll leave her personal life anyway, but she goes on that break. But bringing back Marcus Rashford conversation, sometimes the athletes also play a role in all of this. Well, Onjaba, we wish her all the best. A quick return to the sport that she loved before. Maybe she gets her happiness back. Sometimes I've also seen some tennis stars do that, either they're going for maternity leave as a break, or some maybe a new love scenario comes in. So fast forward here, it's a break. I just want to get it. Actually, they're going to meet their happiness. But who never knows what happened. Maybe Onsuba gets a return and another love story takes place at the end of it. I mean, while the Swiss Open, the mountain, a prep pace off for Bublik on just that debut. And Surndolo talking about Nordia Open, Surndolo avenging his brother Sings Noven in Bastard. Well, quickly, let's switch gear and talk about a talking point. One I want to also look at would be that of Nigerian team. I'm looking at their performance and as a sprint at the CAA under 18, under 20 championship in this one. Taking place in Nigeria, the fans also cheering them in that regard. But Nigerian athletes struck the podium in the under 18 women's 100 meters final. Well, Miracle is Zechuku taking gold in the time of 11.88 seconds and closely followed by Rosemary Nwankwo, 11.96 seconds, and Funke Jegede, 12.2 seconds, completing a total sweep for the host nation. Well, it seemed like a competition. Remember, recently we talked about a guy that won bronze, and now we're talking about a sprinting event, and they're doing quite well in this one.
Well, I'm very happy when we have fresh names to look at the world of athletics. I'm done with Blessing the Carberry, Favor Phillies. I'm still young, but we've talked about her for quite a while. So good to have new names to talk about.
Just too early to really think they'll become superstars.
Just like I talked about it yesterday, I feel it's left for the Nigerian Sports Commission right now to try to see how they can get these now the girls, not the guys, down the girls too. It seems as if we have more success with the girls when it comes to athletics in Nigeria. If you look at it, bless the camp, but I can mention names to be done the country proud. But when you go to the men's category, I cannot really, but maybe divide a good but never reach the stage we expected him to do. But good for the girls. I just want to see how we can transition, give them that transition they need, maybe get them scholarships, because that's how it works in the world of athletics now. You need to get a scholarship to go to a good college overseas where you get to be part of the system, get to develop properly, because you don't have
the other conversation would be, you look at the tournament, is it an A-grade tournament so far? Because you look at the teams that are participating in it, and from an African point of view,
yeah, we know something. It's almost like the junior All-African games now. Well, maybe not All-African get maybe junior athletic games, athletic championships now,
Yeah.
because we have countries from all over Africa. So if they are good enough, then maybe if they're good enough to defeat other countries from
In
Africa,
Africa,
then
maybe
maybe
they're
they're the
good
best.
enough for the world
Exactly.
stage. Well, we'll get to see what happens with the youngsters. Under 18, under 20, a tournament it is for them, championship it is for them. And some of them are starting tall, making Nigeria proud. Or some also within that mix, faltering their lines. But youngsters, there's room to grow at the end of it. And now let's move on and talk about those that are not really youngsters, but a Nigerian contingent in that direction. I'm looking forward to the 2025 Afro Basketball tournament that will be taking place. And one of those conversations would be that there's confusion trailing the Tigers Afro Basketball build up their preparation. And most often than not, they have the preparation in the United States of America. But this time out, there seems to be some conflicting issues. And look, the 2025 FIBA Women's Afro Basketball tournament is set to tip off in Ivory Coast on July 25th. And frustration regarding their traveling and logistics and preparation for the event. Unfortunately, they've won this tournament 6 times, defending champions in that regard. And are you worried the way their preparation is? Just recently landed in Abuja and we're quite happy about it. Not being able to jet out of the country and go to where they ought to go to. Preparation is always taking place, looking at a build-up of the United States in camp, then the return for the tournament. The tournament just closed by July 25th in Ivory Coast. What are we expecting now? Possibility of defending the champion?
Well,
Championship?
I hear that everything stems from the National Sports Commission. The NBBF has blamed the National Sports Commission, but when I look at it, I just feel maybe they're trying to go for a more cost-effective, preparation now, because usually they used to trade in the United States, but not as if they're not trading anymore. They're just coming back to Nigeria to trade. So I feel the same thing for me. I hear there's a tournament, a semi-tournament already, built for them to use for preparatory purposes now for this particular competition. So we still have preparation. So it's not in the United States, but it's still something.
But top quality, you're playing all the big games in the United States with some of the decent sides. It prepares you better, definitely, with tougher approaches.
African games are always different. Football, basketball, always different.
Oh, yeah, but when you're playing sides that you're better off, what preparation is there now? Well, if you go to the United States of America, you see tougher opening there, you're training hard friendly games at the end of it, you become better at the end of it. Well, let's see what pans out for them.
I wanted to take that side by side with what happened for the junior Tigresses as well at the under 19 World Cup. We talked about it yesterday. Actually, they stood those chances, and yes, they did. They beaten by the Hungarian side, I think 77 to 51 or thereabouts, and it's sad for them, but they get to face the Argentines now in the classification from 9 to 16. Maybe they finish 9th. I don't know. I told you they might get to finish 9th, but against Argentina, Argentina has lost 4 matches so far in the tournament, and just lost just 3. So maybe finally they get to face a team they are better than at the moment. Good news for them.
Lots of maybe. Well, the opener of the group game for them, talking about under 19 girls, they were able to beat China, whipping China at the end of it. But since then, it's been difficult for them. China being one team, they're able to beat. Question will be, can they beat Argentina? Only time will tell. And now we've got a quick break. When we're back, we'll talk about the main event. It will be the Super Falcons of Nigeria against Zambia. What are we expecting? The Super Falcons of Nigeria beat Zambia with Barbara Banda, the African Footballer of the Year. It will be a conversation because many Zambians are causing social media agog about beating the Super Falcons of Nigeria. We'll talk about it when we're back from this break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. It is Sports Central. My name is Badu Kim Faditina, still made for company, going nowhere. And now we're ready for football stories around the world and the interest that comes with it. And when we talk about football stories, many angles, many people are looking forward to the big game that will be taking place today. But first, we'll start from the home side. It will be the Nigerian Premier Football League. We here, a Kano Pillars have unveiled 9 players in that regard, preparing for the season. Well, we're talking about possibilities every time, but the good thing about the league this time out, transfer window has been most of the teams are slowing down. Last season, it was UC teams unveiling 25 players, 30 players. We talked about the Heartland Football Club, the number of players, about 31 new players. At the end of it, they still got relegated at the end of it. But 9 new players, quite reasonable.
Maybe they would just want to use our heads a little bit. Maybe do 9 now. Do 9 but I think it's great. It's great. You can see the purpose that comes with it. Now, for sure they're not just going to let it all players go, because when they get 27 players after, they have to let go another 25. So definitely, I think it's good news for Kano Pillars. Also, with the Jeroba GM now, general manager, talking about former Musa, he's also announced the signing of a sponsorship with a France-based radio platform now. So definitely more coverage for the Kano Pillars, and it's not just going to stop at Kano Pillars, because if a team like Kwara United gets to face against Kano Pillars, it's also going to put them on that particular platform now. So I think good for them. Just that Ahmed Musa maybe was just the right man for that job after. I just want to see more footballers like this come home, not just to come and play for the team, because I hear Ahmed Musa is not charging, but some other players are charging the club side, like the one played for Yimba Football Club, forgetting his name now, played last season. I know he's charging the club side, so maybe come back not just with the Europe's league. Europe top 5 leagues, you could compare players there with players in City are almost the same. Trust me, go check it out for yourself. You see it. So I think
but
the Nigerian league is not on that level.
But when you look at the standing, because I always have a problem with making excuse for one and condemning one on the other hand, and that's why I always have the issue, because Neymar Junior, I'm praising Neymar Junior, but he's charging also. It's not a problem to charge. That's the point.
It's not a problem.
Maybe make it sound like it's a problem.
If the Brazilian league were not doing as well as possible, maybe Neymar wouldn't charge. Because look at the Nigerian league. We need more.
Maybe he'll still charge.
Oduni Jallo has played a lot in China, gone to Saudi Arabia. What has he done for the Nigerian league after? He says he's not going to come back to play because he did not have any club side, a home club side. But you played for some teams when you were in the FPL for sales. So what are you talking about? So I feel superstars like this have the money. Come back home and invest. Mikel Obi is busy on his podcast, staring down Nicholas Jackson. Come back.
It's still something funny now. Well, it's not everyone that's going to. Johnny Gallo made a statement also. You have to excuse the man. He said, well, for me to come back, there ought to be security. There have to be certain things in place.
The main thing he said was he does not have a home side team.
Well, that's also a factor. Just like the man at the end by saying, travel logistics is a problem in Nigerian Premier Football. What about his security and all of that? Maybe they don't have to play in the league. Maybe they can invest somewhere, somehow, differently. It's not just all about playing at the end of it. Well, but the players that joined Kano Pillars, a part of it is also Chinedu, a right back from Heartland Football Club, Monta Muhammad, a central defender from El Kanemi Warriors, Chidozie Jude Okorie, a striker from Rangers International, and Dawood Ibrahim, a left back from KB United FC, Uzogara Kennedy, a central defender from Rivers United. We're talking about Shimitu Gomino Eya, a striker from FRSC FC, Hadi Mohammed, also a striker from Bayelsa United. We're talking about Jerry Alex, a striker returning to the team after playing for Maltese Premier League side, Musta FC, and Sangla FC, and Eze Charles, a midfielder who previously played for Lillestrøm SK of Norway and FK Con of Montenegro. Montenegro rather. It makes all the difference. Some big names returning home in this one.
Looks like they failed.
Well, funny thing, I don't always be a boogeyman in it. Come on. A player played his career, decides to come back.
Lillestrøm in Norway, top team in Norway. Why would he come back from Lillestrøm to Kano Pillars?
Funny thing, you don't have to call it failure.
Or maybe they didn't do so well.
Sometimes they have a break. Sometimes it's a player's prerogative. Come on.
Maybe
don't call it. You don't know the reason. You don't know the reason, so but don't bash them.
Maybe they didn't.
That's it. Let's move ahead. Funny thing has a way of making things difficult for some of these guys. Let's move ahead and talk about some conversation here. Would be that Bayelsa Queens, they're beginning preparation for continental preparation with friendly. They played against Sunshine Queens, who just got promoted to the Nigerian Premier Football.
They got pegged back first. But you can understand it's a friendly game, and they're just coming back from the back of that recent hosting by also state government. So maybe they're still in honeymoon, trying to see what they can do for themselves. But the biggest story is now they got that particular victory. So maybe good times for the girls.
Well, whether they won or not, preparation is preparation. Let's see what happens because up next for them would be the Waffle competition. Looking forward to the Champions League in the women's category, the club football Champions League in Africa. Well, further conversation would be that this one sounds like a good news. Delayed kits have arrived. We're talking about spirit lifted as Nigeria take on Zambia. Well, remember we talked about a training kit. They were training with old kits. And maybe it's coming at the right time and maybe with the right spirit now. They train and looks all polished now with the Nike kit ready for the Zambia game.
So Nigerians have said, what if they crash out? What if they crash
Well, it
out?
doesn't matter. It's a national team
the
kit
kids,
at the end of it.
they will just use the kids for one game and then.
It's kids, just kids now. It doesn't matter anyway.
Definitely.
Well, before we get to talk about the Super Falcons, because we'll go back to that kids conversation, let's touch just one. The WAF will be competition that's taking place in Ghana under 20. We had Nigeria Flying Eagles. We'll be facing Niger Republic in that group. Nigeria and Ghana qualified after Nigeria were able to beat their opponent, Benin Republic 4-0, and Ghana defeated Benin Republic 1-0. Remember, the first leg was between Nigeria and Ghana. 3 teams in that group, and Nigeria played a 1-1 draw against Ghana. So Nigeria topped the group, Ghana finished second. On the other group, Niger Republic finishes runner-up in the group alongside Ivory Coast after they're able to play a goalless draw against Burkina Faso, but they got a victory over Togo, 1-0 victory over Togo. And that's why they're facing the Super Eagles, not the Flying Eagles of Nigeria. The Ghanaian counterpart will be facing the Ivorians in the semi-finals of it. On Fanitina, Coach Subaira and the team, they're building that conversation. They've qualified for the World Cup already. But what will be competition? They're defending champions in it. Last time out, they got in finals. I think they played against Ivory Coast and won it. And now we're looking at what gets to happen next for them. Niger Republic, many would say not a big problem for them. But it's football, it can be a problem. Can they go all the way?
Well, I'm excited about the number of goals they've been able to score because at the under 20 Africa, they were not scoring lots of goals. Just almost the same problem we're having with the Super Falcons of Nigeria. But in this particular Waffle B tournament, we've seen them score 4 against the Benin Republic side. So definitely, maybe good news for Nigerians now, knowing that we can put the balls in the back of the net. So against the Niger Republic, we expected to win. I don't want to see a 1-0 or 2-0 win. Maybe get to see how sharp these strikers are because the coach talked a lot about the improved striking department. So I want to see how really improved it has gotten because not just about scoring against the Benin side. Let's see how many he gets to score in the semi-final and in the final.
Well, let's see how it gets to happen in the semi-finals and in the finals. Let's talk about a big one. Going back to the Super Falcons game with Zambia. The game takes place today. A mighty, mighty game to talk about. Unfortunately, now what are we expecting in this tournament? Talking about WAFCON, the Nations Cup. Nigeria has faced Ghana in recent times. In fact, every Nations Cup Nigeria gets to face Ghana. Zambia rather, the last edition in 2016 year, Nigeria defeated Zambia 6-0. 2018 beat Zambia 4-0. And the last edition, 2022, Zambia defeated Nigeria 1-0 at a third place game. And now the Zambians are building such confidence. You go on social media, you get intimidated as a Nigeria for the first time. Nigeria's always being the one batching other African nations. But now Zambians are saying we're going to knock them out. The coach said they're in for hunting. They want to hunt. You said the Super Falcons are saying Mission X. What happens in this?
I would say for me, I'm not too intimidated by the Zambians. I watched the game against them, the third place, but I think they were lucky. So, how do you put it to you? You said they were all out against us. They were playing defensive football. One thing about the Zambia, Nigeria. No. Okay, let's analyze what is happening at the WAFCON. Nigeria plays in a 4-3-3 formation. Zambia plays in a 4-2-3-1 with the likes of Barbara Bandan and Kudananji now playing on the wings and being so fast. Most times, there are only 2 players up front with a striker. So it shows you that at this moment now, you would see the Zambian girls hoping only on their, striking prowess. They've conceded about 5 goals in the tournament. 5 goals. Nigeria have conceded none so far. So when you're talking about being intimidated,
conceded 4 goals.
5 goals. Oh yeah, 4 goals rather. 2 goals in the first match and the second match. So definitely 4 goals now against Zambia. So I would say top side.
Yes.
Nigeria is a top side as well.
Yeah, we're saying the same thing, but the scoring goals. It brings a conversation from the Nigerian side because Nigeria had difficulties in scoring goals. The last two matches, they struggled to score goals. A last minute bet against Botswana that they scored against Algeria. I couldn't score a decent defense from the Algerians, and despite having 24 shots in that game, they couldn't bear it. What are we expecting in this one? Because we're talking about Barbara Banda being up there and Kudananji, top superstars.
3 goals apiece for them.
Many people also ask the question: 3 goals apiece for them?
Yeah. For both of them. Barbara Banda, 3 goals, Kudananji, 3 goals.
Okay, I get in the top. I thought you were saying scoring Nigeria.
Oh, no.
Maybe you're in another way. Here's a conversation because we're looking at it. The Zambians, I pick up their face too. The Zambians are saying, look, our goalkeeper isn't so good.
Exactly. So I'm really looking at the Copper Queens of Zambia. I think they should be the ones that threat because we look at what they've been able to do in this particular competition. I would say I don't rely too much on the striking force. The top manager once said, attack wins you games, defense wins you titles. So when you look at the Super Falcons of Nigeria, organized, have the best goalkeeper on the continent, I think you look at what they've been able to do in recent matches. The only problem I've had with the Super Falcons is finding the ball in the back of the net. But when you get against a team who've conceded 4 goals already, means you will not really have those problems. Just facing Manchester United last season, we see a team who've not scored goals in about 5 matches. But when they face Manchester United with the likes of Anthony Onana, they don't score. Right, so that's the same thing here.
Let's look at something this particular team from the Super Falcons. We've seen the bulk of the starting lineup from the coach Justin Margaret in this one. Part of that would be Rashida Ajiba, the captain of the side, sometimes drifted into the middle again. And
always drifted into the middle.
It's not really worked out so far the tournament from my standpoint when I watch it, because the question would be, yes, she's doing lots of marking, but no transition for them until we have Jennifer Kejile coming from the bench before we begin to see that. You Justin Margaret, because the fans are complaining that the team isn't scoring goals, and he says he's going to solve the scoring problem. What would you do in this particular game to solve that problem?
Well, ironically, I would say Justin Madufu should go with the lineup we've had in the first and the second game against Zambia, because this is where we're going to need that particular tactics. Because he was a little bit defensive, played 2 defensive midfielders against Zambia. Trust me, you will need them. But when you're stopping the likes of Barbara Banda, trust me, you need them.
You can't afford to be on the back foot.
Against Botswana?
Yeah, against Zambia trying to defend.
We are not going to be on the back foot. No, we are not. We're just going to have a more solid midfield. When we get to play more attacking against Zambia, you get
what? That's the problem. In those games, yes, they still need to attack.
We can attack with what we have.
Even against smaller teams, they're not able to attack. Yeah. No wonder the numbers.
Well, I would say lastly, Brazil strike twice, 24 shots against Algeria. Trust me, on another night.
Starting lineup.
Well,
on different kind of
I understand.
Yes.
On another night, there's nowhere you've not scored at least 4 of that.
That's been the most with that lineup.
Exactly.
You could say they were attacking just by the fact that they didn't score. Right. On the other lineup, they weren't attacking.
Well, let's just hope for good news later tonight, later this evening, 5 p.m. Nigerian time. Deborah is actually back for that particular game. Picked the yellow card in the first game, picked the yellow card in the second game, and missed the third game. Nigerians are saying, please stop this girl. She's going to get a red card against Zambia. And I looked at it. She's a very hot-tempered player. Not hot-tempered now. It's about her fiery tackles.
Somehow you get that card. I saw the card she got.
21 years of age, very young and reckless.
I saw the yellow card she got in the second game against Botswana. She was actually fouled, but the referee gave her the yellow card.
Well, she's that kind of player who the ref loves to card again, just like Casemiro. They have those kind of players. She's very fiery with her tackles. So
that fiery.
Now, Nigerians are scared. I went to social media. I was looking at Nigerians and said, please drop Deborah Abiodun. Maybe bring her in the second half when we're trying to. A little bit, but if she gets to start the game, we might see a card early on in that game.
Lots of expectation for the Super Falcons of Nigeria. I'm pointing at neither here nor there. Who wins it for you?
I'll go with the Super Falcons of Nigeria. I'm not impressed with Zambia. I'm not.
Almost patriotic, one way or the other. But another game that will be taking place today would be about 8 p.m. Nigerian time, would be Morocco against Mali. Quickly, let's switch gear. The time is far gone and see what we can do to catch up in the Euros. England reached the semifinals after a shootout win over Sweden. Well, England were losing 2-0. They had to fight back, and our lucky Bruns are making the difference, scoring the let go for them and giving them the opportunity to go to the extra time and play the penalty shootout. At the end of it, England got that victory. They are the defending champion and they're still progressing. Other games in the Euros will be taking place today. We'll try to see which game, definitely. We'll talk about it. All right, no game today, but We'll talk about what gets to happen even for today. It will be Spain here, Spain against Switzerland, and tomorrow we'll have France against Germany, the Spanish national team, a top side in the women's game. Well, quickly before we close, a bit on transfer. We hear that Brian Bemo of Brentford Football Club, Cameroon International, who could be moving to Manchester United at a big increase to £70 million. There's been lots of back and forth, but it's not really happened yet for them. Is that conversation? We keep our fingers crossed and see what happened. A better bid for Manchester United, £70 million. That should be enough, many are saying. Anyway, also, according to reports we're having, we hear that Snoop Dogg has joined ownership group of Wales club Swansea City. At some point, I was doing some stuff with them, and not many people understood that I was going to have to buy a stake in the club. Good to have Snoop Dogg be part of football. While still on the wall of transfer, Atlanta have rejected Inter Milan's opening bid for Nigerian forward, the African Footballer of the Year, Adele Lookman. Well, we heard the bid was £40 million, and said it's not going further, but Atlanta have said it cannot be lower than 50 million in that direction. Quite cheap. I hear the net salary for him is projected. I don't know what has been about £4 million a year.
The man is all about the money. Probably has other things giving him money.
How old is it?
28 or 27 thereabouts.
He doesn't care about money. As
well,
an African footballer,
when he wants to make money, he can go to Saudi League. I'm sure once Adebola Lookman wants to go to Saudi League, teams will come calling for him. But I hear Italy want to add a player in that particular deal. The man Cristiani Aslani rather, and Albanian international. So that's going to be the next bid. Maybe put it up to 45 million plus the player. Let's see how that goes for them.
Let's see how that goes for them. But one argument is taking place as we're closing is about the value on African players. We see the value of Victor Osimhen on the market. We've seen, and many people are questioning. No wonder the likes of Niger Republic are not playing for Nigeria because the value seems to be limited in the market. Well, structural changes it is an opportunity that comes with it in these games of sports and football. But here we draw a call in today's edition of Sports Central. Thank you for being a part of it. My name is Vladimir and funny to doing the magic for me.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Always a pleasure to be here. What a week it's been, a roller coaster one, but it has to do with all of it. We wish the Super Falcons the best of luck as we say bye-bye.